Hi, this is Disability Lawyer David Brannon. In this video, I'm going to take you through how contingency fee agreements work in Nova Scotia. After watching this video, you'll have a better idea of the specifics of the rules and how they apply to these agreements in Nova Scotia and how to protect yourself if you're hiring a lawyer using one of these ways of hiring a lawyer. Now, if you like this video, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification so you get notice of our videos when they come out a few times a week. So if you're considering hiring a lawyer for an injury claim or a disability claim, a contingency fee agreement is a common way to hire lawyers in these situations. Contingency fee agreements are often known as no-win, no-fee agreements because the payment to the lawyer is only made if the lawyer is successful in achieving the desired outcome or the agreed upon outcome, which in most cases will be either an approval of your disability claim or some type of payment of money from an insurance company or other organization to yourself. So let's take a look at Nova Scotia and some of the rules that are specific there. Now, in Nova Scotia, contingency fee agreements have rules to them, and the rules are found in the rules of court and also in the lawyer's code of conduct, code of professional conduct in Nova Scotia. So this is where you're going to find the rules that govern these agreements, and let's go take a look at those now. So let's start with the rules that apply from the rules of court. These are found at 77.14 of the Nova Scotia Rules of Court. So there are a number of things that have to happen with these agreements. And it's one of those things that if one of these things is off, then the agreement can be found to be invalid. So it's important to know, like, here's what the requirements are and make sure that the agreement you get with the lawyer has all these things in it. So first of all, these agreements have to be in writing and signed by both you and the lawyer. That's critical. You can't have a contingency agreement if it's not in writing and signed. The contingency agreement has to describe your claim and also the contingency upon which the agreement is based. Now, in most cases, your claim is going to be an injury claim or a disability claim, and the contingency will be the successful obtaining of money or a claim approval by the lawyer for you. Now, these agreements also have to specify who is going to pay for the disbursements and the case expenses. So when you're running any type of a legal case, there's going to be expenses that need to be paid, court filing fees, medical record fees, hiring experts, all these things. The fee agreement has to be clear on who's paying for them. Are you paying for them? Are the lawyers paying for them? And under what contingency are these disbursements paid back? Is the lawyer taking the risk that if the case is lost, they have to write off these disbursements or pay off any loans? Or are you going to be the one responsible for it? That has to be very clearly laid out in these agreements. All right, the next part is that these agreements have to give you a formula for how the contingency fee is calculated. Now, the most common way that this is done is the agreement will set out a percentage or a series of percentages that may apply to the amount of money recovered. So the most common one thing you're going to see is that the fee will be somewhere between 25 and 33% of whatever money is recovered by the lawyer. And the formula needs to set out exactly what the percentage will be and how it will be applied. So normally these percentages just apply to the money received to calculate what the legal fee will be. Now, these agreements also have to specify what happens if the client and lawyer, if you fire the lawyer or the lawyer withdraws from representing you, they have to set out what happens in that situation if there's a breakup before the contingency that is anticipated happens. So if you stop using the lawyer or the lawyer leaves sometime before your claim is won or money is paid, there has to be an explanation of what happens there. Now, a few other things. The agreement needs to say specifically in there how you are to be able to dispute it. Now, you can, or have it reviewed. So the agreement has to say in there that you have the right to have this reviewed by a court officer, the agreement itself, or any fee charged to you under this agreement. It's important that the lawyer educate you about that you know that that's a right, and that actually has to be stated in the agreement. Now, the last thing is the lawyer has to provide you with a signed copy of the agreement, and they need to do that, reasonably soon after the signing takes place. So make sure that you have your own copy of the agreement, and the lawyer is required to do that. Now, that covers the rules of court. These contingency agreements are also the rules for them are also found within the lawyer's code of conduct for Nova Scotia. So here are some important things found in there. This is more about what's reasonable for the lawyer to charge you. So it's important to know that these contingency fee agreements should more be seen as a cap. So whatever the highest percentage is there, you should regard that as the most the lawyer can charge you at the end of the day for this case. Now, lawyers are not simply allowed to blindly charge you whatever fee results from applying this percentage to the money received. That's not how it works. So lawyers are only able to charge a fee that is fair and reasonable in the circumstances, okay? So there's a lot of context that needs to be taken into account when determining what is fair for a lawyer to charge. Sometimes up front, it's not easy to know exactly what all the circumstances are going to be, and it's hard to calculate what the fee would be up front. So that's why you'll see many law firms, including our own, will start with the highest level fee in the agreement and say that at the end we will assess it based on the circumstances and will lower the fee when necessary to get a fair result. That's what you want. You want a lawyer who is going to acknowledge that they are going to, at the end of the day, when the case is over, reassess to make sure that the fee charged with the fee percentages in there results in a fair fee. If it doesn't, the lawyer has a professional obligation to lower that fee to make sure that it results in a fair fee. Now, the what's fair is kind of in the eye of the beholder sometimes, but the Professional Code of Conduct in Nova Scotia does set out some guidelines on things that need to be considered. I'll just take a look at some of these now. So number one is they will always look at what was the likelihood of success in this case, how risky was it, what risks did the lawyer take on, did the lawyer take on risks if the case is lost that they would be the ones liable and responsible to pay any disbursements or not get paid back for those things. They'll look at how complex the case was, the degree of skill of the lawyer and how that came to bear on the case. They'll look at other expenses the lawyers had and the risks, for pursuing this case. They'll look at the amount of the expected recovery and how much was actually recovered. And they'll look at who's receiving any award of costs. That just means a reimbursement of legal fees. So if you are receiving the costs award on any case, that would mean you would get a reimbursement towards your legal fees. Then a higher fee may be justified because you're actually getting a reimbursement on it. However, if the lawyer is getting that cost reimbursement money, that may be a reason that the fee should be smaller because they're also being compensated from that cost award from the court. Now, I'll leave you with one final thing here. When you're doing these agreements, you have the right to have them reviewed, either the agreement itself or the fee. Now, at our firm, we help people have that review happen. We call it our fair fee guarantee. Not all firms are going to offer something like that, but you should know and educate yourself that you do have the right to challenge this if it just doesn't feel right. So how that happens in Nova Scotia is it's handled through the Small Claims Court of Nova Scotia. They have a special procedure there for handling review of lawyers' bills. So if you go into any small claims court office or call them, they will give you the specific form that you need to fill in to have a lawyer's bill reviewed. Now, if you were with our firm, we would just give you the form to do it yourself because we will help you with that process. Now, once you file the form, there's a fee you need to charge, a fee you need to pay. It's somewhere around $100. It might be a little bit more. I haven't checked if it's gone up in price, but it's around the $150 range, something like that. You will get that money back if you're successful in having the lawyer's fee reduced. The lawyer will have to pay you back for that. Basically, that's it. So if you get a bill from a lawyer, you should act quickly. Don't sit on it. There is a timelines for you to have it challenged. Start by asking the lawyer, like, is there anything we can do here? Can you explain why the bill is what it is? And sometimes there's just going to be a disagreement there. So if there is, you can go forward with having the bill reviewed. And this is the process you would follow in Nova Scotia. It goes through the small claims court and just contact them and take care of that. This does set out a lot of the things you should know as a consumer when you're dealing with these contingency fee agreements. Contingency fee agreements are a great way to hire a lawyer if you cannot otherwise afford to do so. It's also a way to share the risk of the case and to have the lawyer be invested in the case because they can only be paid if they win. So there's a lot of pressure on the lawyer to win the case, or in many situations, the lawyer's not only going to not be paid for all their time, but they could lose money on top of that because they paid for these case expenses and disbursements and there's no way to get them paid back. Take your time to evaluate these situations and look at, I should say that in Nova Scotia there's no standard fee agreement that all lawyers must use. So lawyers are able to kind of have different wording in them. So you have to make sure you're comparing apples to apples and oranges to oranges. Don't just look for a lawyer who says they're going to give you a slightly less fee than the other one. There may be other reasons where you don't come out on the better because of that, especially if they're not paying legal costs to you or if the lawyer's not committed to assessing the case at the end of the day anyway. At the end of the day, the fee can only be charged that is fair and reasonable. So the lawyers, no matter what they say they're charging you as a percentage, that can be adjusted if it's called for in the case. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you here next time. Please hit that like button, subscribe, leave us a comment, and we'll see you next time. Take care.